In my last video, I gave a brief rundown on the Resident Evil 2 remake and how it's a perfect blend of all three styles of Resident Evil gameplay. This time, I'm going to talk about the Ghost Survivors DLC. If you haven't played this mode yet, just know that there are spoilers ahead. You don't really get to appreciate the supporting cast until you play the Ghost Survivors mode. Here, three ancillary characters from the campaign get their own spotlight in these what-if scenarios. These modes are more arcadey compared to the main game, yet each character still gets a chance to act out their own drama. They're not told in drawn-out cinematics, but quick film cuts that remind me of Bayonetta's cutscenes. Capcom understands genre, and they're playing these characters up to genre, but that doesn't mean their experiences aren't as valid as the main cast. Comparing this mode to RE4, it feels like the Mercenaries mode that you unlocked in 4, but with a shift in priorities. Whereas Mercs was pure survival for as long as possible, it was survival through shooting your way out. Enemies would drop loot or ammo, and you had to find hourglasses to increase the length of the session to maximize your score. Survivors is all about racing to the finish line, and there just happens to be a horde of zombies in the way. Each Survivor scenario features a new enemy type and tests you on how to perform skills you should have mastered in the base game. In No Time to Mourn, you play as Robert Kendo, the gun shop owner who has to put down his infected daughter. In the original, he was a one-off character you met in the beginning of the game and gets swarmed by zombies.
What are you doing here?
Don't shoot! I'm a human!
Whew. Sorry about that, babe. I thought you were one of them.
What's going on in this town?
Hold on. I ain't got no clue, darling. By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city was infested with zombies. But don't you worry, girlie. You'll be safe in here. I'm keeping a close eye on things.
His original design made it seem like he was wearing a white shirt that was yellowed from not washing regularly. In the remake, he's wearing a yellow plaid hunting shirt, and I can't stop associating his tragic backstory with Chuck Green in Dead Rising Off the Record. Kendo's story introduces 4 new important mechanics: poison zombies, gas tank zombies, backpack zombies, and gumball machines. Poison zombies will obviously poison you if they bite you, but they can also emit a cloud of poison gas on death, so you need to learn to take them out at a distance. Gas tank zombies are the exploding barrels of the game. You can shoot the tank out to destroy a surrounding swarm, or you can shoot the zombie carrying the tank in the leg so they'll drop it on the floor and you can use it as a trap later down the line. Backpack zombies carry extra equipment that you can use after you've separated the backpack from its carrier. Gumball machines are depots scattered across the map that will grant you 1 free item, but after you collect it, you cannot access the machine again. You can clearly tell that these new additions are the arcadey parts of this mode, but I really like how they're not so blatantly obvious in their art design. Yeah, it's goofy as hell to see these garish gumball machines lit up in the darkness of Raccoon City's streets, but it's not that goofy. No Time to Mourn tests you on how efficient you are when it comes to managing your items, specifically your gunpowder mixing. The remake introduced gunpowder early in the main campaign and teaches you which combination of powders will yield which type of ammo. Basic gunpowder will give you handgun bullets. A high grade plus a basic will give you either shotgun shells or acid grenade rounds, and combining 2 of the same kind of high grade gunpowder will yield either magnum rounds or submachine gun rounds. You have to do all this with the very restrictive inventory you would normally start out with in the main campaign, which is 8 slots. Along with that, at some point the level branches out and you can go the longer route, which grants more items along the way, but also more risk of enemy attacks, or the shorter route, which cuts down your travel by a significant amount, but you won't have as many opportunities to stock up. Ideally, you want to minimize damage and exposure to poison so that you can save your herbs for the final stretch, which is a suicide run through a crowd of poison zombies and an ivy. It's almost necessary to have an RGB herb combo ready, so that you can not only tank the damage you'll no doubt receive from the swarm, but resist the poison they carry. Hopefully, you've picked up a stronger weapon along the way, like the Magnum or the Spark Shot, to stun or disable the ivy from killing you. Once you reach the construction area where Claire or Leon fought Birkin the second time, you've met with your contact and left Raccoon City. No Time to Mourn is a hell of a beginning mission for the Ghost Survivors mode. If it's too hard for your first couple tries, you can always switch to training mode, which gives you more inventory slots, more healing items, and removes some enemies from the area, but your time won't be counted. Training mode is really great to help you learn the layout of each story with less stressful stakes, and I recommend using it for every mode before you really try your hand at them. Also, I just want to point out that No Time to Mourn has the best track in the entire game. The second Ghost Survivor story is Runaway. This story features Catherine Warren, the mayor's daughter, who you see in the main campaign as a corpse in Chief Iron's office in the Raccoon City orphanage. This story presupposes that Catherine killed Irons before he could murder her, and she plans to escape the city with her boyfriend Ben, the reporter locked up underneath the RPD by Irons. Runaway introduces a new enemy type, the Palehead. Paleheads are walking bullet sponges, and small arms won't make a dent. You need to use stronger weapons in order to put them down. Luckily, Catherine comes equipped with Claire's starting revolver that's already upgraded to accept high-powered rounds. This story tests you on your ability to manage different ammo types with your revolver, as well as collect keys from the backpack zombies that patrol the area, who may be tightly packed in with a swarm of other zombies. Paleheads are the real threat in the story, because they not only tank through normal gunfire, but once they're in their chase animation, they can close a distance at a ridiculous pace. They're as fast, if not faster, than IVs. High-powered bullets can stop them, but they're in short supply, and you need to make every shot count. You can cheese them somewhat if you encounter any of them as they're extending upstairs. Otherwise, aim for their heads and legs. You get the flamethrower from the first backpack zombie, and you need to manage when you use it since fuel is also scarce. Runaway also gives you the infinite durability knife, and you won't know how important it is at first until you reach the basketball court. In the center of the court lies a backpack zombie, and he's flanked by lickers on 3 sides. You should know by now that lickers are sensitive to sound, so any gunfire will immediately aggro them. This is where I learned that knife attacks are considered silent to the lickers, and hopefully you didn't lose your knife to an attacking zombie before reaching this area. Just before you reach the underground parking area for the RPD, you'll have to face the meanest trick in the story, a Palehead that also happens to be a backpack zombie. Once you get to the parking garage, you face the second meanest trick in the story, a regular backpack zombie surrounded by 3 Paleheads. Both backpacks only carry a key, but you'll need both because once you reach the cells, they all open up, and you need to use a side entrance if you want any chance of getting to Ben. There's a lone Palehead lurking in that path just to keep you on your toes. Once again, it really helps if you've either saved some herbs or got some healing items at the ready, so you can tank through the swarm and reach Ben's cell, thus ending the story. The third Ghost Survivor story is The Last Survivor. This story features Ghost, one of Umbrella's wetwork agents, who was lucky enough to avoid William Birkin's attack. In fact, he's so lucky, he managed to secure the G-Virus sample after Leon dropped it from the bridge at Nest. The Last Survivor introduces armored zombies. Some of Umbrella's security team got infected and they were wearing anti-ballistic armor at the time of infection. This A gear means that they're sturdier than regular zombies, but not as unbearable as Paleheads. You need to use either stronger weapons on them, or target their unarmored parts, which could vary from either arms and legs to their chest and face. Ghost only starts out with an SMG and some ammo, but he gets a chance to carry a whole slew of weaponry during his story. The Last Survivor tests you in a combination of ammo and gunpowder management, as well as weapon and inventory management. This is the most open of the stories thus far when it comes to what weapons you can bring along the way. It's a little dangerous in some respects because if you're not paying attention to what weapons you chose and what kind of powder you're combining, you could end up with the wrong type of ammo for your guns. However, if you've been paying attention and realize that this is the mode that gives you both types of high-grade gunpowder, You could combine those types and craft a frag grenade, which is incredibly useful midway through the level just before you reach the elevator. Besides dealing with the regular zombie horde, the armored zombies, the occasional licker and ivies, you also have to deal with Mr. X at the end of the level as you wait for the doors to open all the way. I was stupid for running into the room with only one exit, but it turned out I was as stupidly lucky as Ghost because Mr. X threw me towards the exit. Some clever juking through a small swarm and using my last grenade in the G-spawn that guards the exit got me through to the end. Once you've completed all these stories, a fourth Ghost Survivor story appears, and it's the hardest of the bunch. No Way Out features Daniel Cortini, the state trooper at the very beginning of the main campaign, who made a horrible end at the gas station. I thought he was just written in to explain the plot hole in the original story about how Leon drives into Raccoon City in a Jeep, but drives away with Claire in a squad car. But nope. Now it's Daniel's time to shine. No Way Out is a survival mode set in the cramped aisles of the gas station from the beginning of the main story. Daniel managed to get a shot into the zombie before it could sink his teeth into the cop's neck, and now he has to hold out against a swarm surrounding the station. Daniel starts out with a pistol that has infinite ammo. This is your bread and butter for the early game, and will hopefully stay with you for most of the run. Once you clear a few waves, you start to get backpack zombies who will drop more items and weapons for you to use. Every type of zombie you've encountered in the Ghost Survivor stories is going to make an appearance in this mode. Poison zombies, armored zombies, poison armored zombies, and paleheads are all going to come in along with backpack zombies and gas tank zombies. This mode is testing you on how effectively you can manage all your skills: weapon handling, item management, and general survival. The pistol is weak but has infinite ammo, so you'll be using it to pick off single targets and to separate zombies from their backpacks or gas tanks. You can be strategic and lead gas tank zombies to specific areas of the map, and knock them down to leave their tanks in those choke points that you can use for later swarms. The important thing to learn about No Way Out is that you won't get more swarms until you pick off all the zombies that are still in the arena. By the end, that number can get up to 10 or more zombies, and that includes the special zombies, so you start relying more on your stronger weapons. I'll learn the quirks of each weapon, like how the Spark Shot's electric attack can jump to zombies who are standing next to your target, and have a chance of also getting short-circuited. Or how you'll need to account for some distance when using the chemical flamethrower since it deals damage over time. Once you reach the required number of kills, Liam will arrive and rescue Daniel in a similar fashion to how he did with Claire, and they'll both drive off in Leon's Jeep. When I was recording footage for No Way Out, I had to resort using training mode by the end because the difficulty really ramps up near the end. The big difference between training mode and regular mode is, again, more inventory space and healing items at the start, as well as having the infinite durability knife. The required number of kills in training mode is only 70 instead of 100. While there aren't any gumball machines in the gas station, No Way Out still feels just as arcadey as the rest of the stories because the zombies' bodies disappear once you kill them instead of staying there like in the main story. It's good for gameplay since you don't need to keep track of which body is alive once you start piling on 100 corpses in a small space, but it's also definitely for performance so that the game doesn't have to keep track of the state of all 100 corpses once you've finished. Out of all the stories, No Way Out reminds me the most of Resident Evil 4, because it's pure survival in a tight arena with enemy swarms coming in at predefined points, reminded me of the house standoff set piece in RE4, where Leon and Luis have to fight in a house against a swarm of zombies, and they could come through the windows from 3 different positions on both the first and second floor. The Ghost Survivor stories really tests all your skills, and may actually teach you things you normally wouldn't have known from the main game. I always had problems with lickers when playing Leon, because a shotgun just doesn't match up to Claire's grenades, but The Last Survivor taught me that knife attacks are extremely effective against lickers. If you've beaten the main story and want the game to test your survival horror skills to their limits, give the Ghost Survivors a try. It was a free update by Capcom, so it's always available in the extras menu if you still want some more Resident Evil.